Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to another episode of True Positives. This will be our third episode. So we'll just start doing a bit of a house cleaning to my guests, Sharon, Dr. Paula. Who else am I seeing? Faith. I'm going to invite your speakers. So I'm just hoping one, I'm audible, and two, you're going to see my invite to speak. So yeah, it's actually 6. So we'll do finalize our cleaning, then jump straight into it. So let me invite guys again. Okay, Dr. Paula, Faith, the invite should have appeared as a notification on your Twitter app to enable you speak. So we're expecting a few more guests. I know from our posters, Dr. Bright had shown interest to come share his experience. Jones Baraza from CTF Room and cyberspace had also shown interest to basically come and share his journey thoughts around mentorship. She-Hawks and a few other guys had also shown interest. So I will give them a few minutes and we proceed. Meanwhile, as that happens, as always, housekeeping rules. I will try keep this short. I'll moderate the session, ask a few questions here and there, and just open this up to our audience and have them ask a lot of the questions, seek clarification, feedback here and there, given the topic will be discussing. Different varying thoughts on this. It was actually interesting listening to interesting feedback from guys who have been mentors, guys who have been mentees, guys who have been mentors who are like, nah, it's not worth it. And mentees who have gone through the mentorship process and they're like, no, not doing it again. And on the flip side, both mentors and mentees who still swear by this. So hoping this is going to be an interesting discussion. I will give the other guests 3 more minutes, then we'll proceed. In the meantime, I'll just ensure the current guests are able to accept their speaker roles and set for when we resume. Okay, so once again, thank you everyone who has created the time to come and be part of this. Apologies if my voice isn't the best. I've had a bit of a flu, so I'm on the mend, but I hope I'm audible. So I'll start with the introduction of today's topic, then hand it over to our guests. Based on the feedback from the last podcast, we are going to do a level best to try limit this to maximum an hour. I know after an hour, personally, my attention becomes shifty. Even an hour is stretching it. Typically, within 10 minutes, my attention becomes shifty. So we'll try to do better in terms of time management, also allow just guys to proceed with the other day's activity. Now, a few weeks ago, here nowadays it's called the tech space. Twitter tech space was heated up with a lot of discussions around mentorship, specifically the relational dynamics that are involved in mentor. Now, some of the sentiments I heard was, look, mentorship is between two people who are typically consenting adults. Whatever they do is up to them. No one is forcing anyone to do anything. On the other side, we also had people who are saying that, look, yes, there are two people, but look, it's mentorship. It's something that has been happening for a while, and more or less it has expected do's and don'ts. Based on that, there was a lot of, honestly, in my opinion, a lot of miscommunication, misinformation, and disinformation. So this podcast was actually aimed at bringing people who have been in that space and just letting them share the experience, how basically the experience has been around mentorship, and also give us guys, audience, guys who are not in that mentorship space, or guys who are considering being mentors, being mentees, just an avenue to ask questions, clarification, and make that decision whether this mentorship is a good fit or it's something that might actually not work for you. To help us with that, we have Sharon from Speciatech, Kenya. I know they recently branched out into Tanzania. Congratulations. We have Dr. Bright, considered amongst the pioneers of actually mentorship in cybersecurity from a regional point of view. We have Faith Thuo, who is a psychologist. We have Jones Baraza, who has also done his fair share of mentoring as part of Cyberspace Kenya. Dr. Paula, a part of the team doing amazing work at Cyber Shujaa. Let me see who else I'm forgetting. Then I also know we have, or ideally we should be having someone from Shiaks Kenya, and one of our guests also, I know it's Miss Sayan of Chechnya, who I've had an amazing pleasure of interacting with, and I loved how she stood for her thoughts and believed in a different venue. So my speakers, please, if you're not a speaker yet, I just request to speak and I'll make you a speaker. To start us off, I would like to start with, let's see, Sharon. So what I basically want our speakers to do is, one, briefly introduce themselves. After the introduction, just share with us the experience as far as mentorship is concerned, whether they've been a mentee or they've been a mentor, the good, the bad side of it, and how they've benefited from that particular process. So we'll start off with Sharon, then go to Bright, Jones, then we'll proceed, we'll self-regulate. So Sharon, if you're able, please, over to you.
Thank you. My name is Sharon Jebitok, and I'm a software developer, and also I act as the developer relations person at Speciatech. So personally, in terms of mentorship, I can say that most times in life, maybe I can say I have those friends that are so direct, maybe we get to meet over and over again. But most mentors, or the people I count as my mentors, are people that maybe we have interacted once in a while and then maybe never met again, or I've been in instances where I've been a mentee for programs that are, let's say, virtual. And personally, I'm not, let's say, so old in this tech career. So I started off in 2020. And I remember that time I didn't know a lot of people in the tech space. So it was a bit, I can't say it was bad, because it would have been nice to know someone, because at times you've been taught something like JavaScript, but you work on a project and it needs some PHP. So I always wished that I could reach out to maybe some developers in my network, but at that time, the developers that I knew, I couldn't reach out to them. So maybe it would have been ideal to have a mentor, but still I was able to, let's say, get at such situations. And then I would join. I think most of the time when I was getting started, I would align myself with Nigerian programs. So the good thing with Nigerian programs is you're just there and no one cares who you are, because at the end of the day, you'll find that there are people who are leading these programs, and then there are many of you who are just mentees in the program, or you're working towards something in the program. And at the end, you get to achieve a lot without being directly associated with anyone. I also joined a US-based school, a boot camp, but it was remote. So when I joined this school, in your first, let's say, 3 months, you'd be attached to a mentor. But now, this mentor could be in a different country. So it wasn't so convenient, because at times you'd shy away from talking to them and stuff like that. And then I remember maybe about 7 months into my tech journey, She Code Africa offered me a chance to be a mentor in a program. And it was somehow humbling, because you're just still getting started, but you've been given a chance to lead some people in I think it was Introduction to Web Development with JavaScript. And for me, it was something that was a bit encouraging because you know that you should help these people learn how to go through their tech journey. And again, it gives you the morale of, keeping up with your journey. And then for me, most of the times I've been using my Twitter account to just share my progress and stuff like that. So at first, the Kenyan tech Twitter, it wasn't so welcoming to beginners. So most of the time I was still in the Nigerian tech Twitter space. And then towards the maybe mid 2021 is when I started getting some Kenyans on my network and we started being together. I think it's early last year that someone reached out to me and said, let's have a space. And that's how Spaciatech came into existence. But most of the time in my life, I always try to, I'll join something and maybe, move out of it because I'll easily shy away and I would have that fear, will this work or will it not work? So I can say this has been my instances of maybe being a mentee and also being a mentor. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Just a follow-up on that. Rather, let's get over with with it now. So, Spaciatech recently launched the Mentalist platform. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Based on basically what you are discussing, can you just share a little bit more about the Mentalist platform, what you want to achieve, and the problem that you're actually trying to solve?
Okay, when Spaciatech started last year, we created a Twitter account and we would always get some DMs. People, at first we didn't have a community channel, so we were only using Twitter. So some people would come to our DM asking, how can I get started? And some questions, maybe some already have gone through some programs and they're looking for roles or want someone to review their resume. So at first, towards the end of last year, we first did an open source project where we started with UI UX designers, and then towards the end of the year, we brought in some developers. So our plan was to do some open source stuff, but with these calls of how can I get started and stuff like that, we decided to have one cohort of mentorship, which was all about web development. It was much of something like a course because we had a couple of mentors who are front-end developers, so they were taking through. So for that cohort, we said, let's only have 30 mentees and a couple of mentors. So these mentors would have a couple of sessions in the evenings, maybe over the weekdays, and then they would take them through HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But with this also, we would still get people requesting, how can I join the mentorship program? How can I get started? And stuff like that. So I think it was in December, and at Spaciatech, we thought I'm sorry. So during that, we were seeing things that were happening within what we were doing. Because one, people would want to access maybe the resources they used in class, and then also maybe some of the recordings. And you know that at times you can't just post the recordings on YouTube or a public place. So we were thinking, how can we make it accessible to these people who are within this program? And then also, how can we keep this content so that it can still be relevant in the upcoming cohorts? So when we were building Mentalist, we had in mind maybe because there was sort of a mentorship for UI UX designers when they were building some stuff within Spaciatech. And then also there was some mentorship, which was not really taking through classes, but for Java developers who are contributing to open source. So seeing these different parts of mentorship within Spaciatech, we thought it would be good to have a mentorship platform, which one we call this the one for the front end, the one for UX design, and the one for Java, sort of a group mentorship. So how can this group mentorship go on? And then again, these people who are part of this group mentorship, how can they access resources? And then we saw another thing. Here on Twitter, there are a lot of people who are doing great stuff. As we can call them mentors, they are seniors in their space, but it's so hard for someone to reach out to them and say, can I have some questions, and can we have a short call? So we thought, let's have this within the mentorship platform. We have not really launched it, but I think maybe in the next couple of weeks or month, we'll be done with the development process of it so that we can launch it and have people onboarded into Mentorlist.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for that. So, for devs in the house are looking for a platform where you can both be trained, get access to those resources, get mentors. You've had it. Bright, I'd like to come to you next. Now, if we talk of cybersecurity in Kenya, definitely you're not going to miss talking over Dr. Bright Gameli. I think and I believe regionally, Dr. Bright has done a lot, for lack of a better word. Now, Bright, given the work you have done in this particular space, and I know you have also done a lot of mentorship, mentored some great upcoming techies and professionals. What are your thoughts on that whole mentorship space? How you view mentorship, at least when you started Africa Hackon, from it, I believe, might be mistaken, but SHIAX was born, and a lot of other programs, I believe, have actually grown based on the initial work Africa Hackon did.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd like to hear your thoughts on that whole topic.
So I mean, hello.
Yeah, can you?
Okay.
Please proceed.
So I mean, the mentorship part of things have been. Sorry, there's a call that came in that interrupted. You can hear me now?
Yes, we can.
So the mentorship part of things have been changing for the past few years. I mean, 10 years ago when Africa Hackon started, it was just a few like-minded people who wanted to share. So we used to just come to a room, we share details and be like, who knows what and how can they do? Remember guys like Munir who used to just show how to reverse engineer malwares. We're like, what is this guy doing? Some of us are still on HTML and trying to break PHP websites. And that kind of sharing of things is what Africa Hackon has been built on in terms of trying to create a ripple effect. So it's been difficult. And there's some people in the space where if you want to get those days, you want to get mentorship, you can send 1,000 emails, you never get any reply back. There was no WhatsApp at the time where you can easily try to reach them. And the other social media platform like Facebook, which was available. However, fast forward to around now, mentorship has taken shape. The fact that we have a lot of available resources and people need to make use of them is the reason why some mentorships fail. So when Sharon was speaking and saying some people are hard to get by, there could be a few reasons. For example, when I'm trying to do a mentorship for somebody and they come to me, I get this request every week. I kid you not, every 2 days, I get at least 3 or 4 requests saying, Bright, teach me how to be a hacker. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Teach me to be a cybersecurity engineer. And I even copy paste that question. What have you researched on? What have you read? What effort have you put in to understand what even cybersecurity as a career entails? Because spoon feeding is what's gonna breed the wrong kind of people when it comes to cybersecurity or any kind of mentorship. But we need to actually understand mentorship is not spoon feeding. Mentorship is guidance. Mentorship is somebody being able to correct you the right way to be able to better understand that you're on the right path. I have done a lot of mentorship, and I think through Africa Hackon, a lot of that has come up, and I'm so happy to see that so many other types of Africa Hackon have sprung up. I know Karim, who is here. Karim, a few years ago, won a CTF, and he flew all the way from Tanzania to come do this. And now Karim is a thought leader when it comes to cybersecurity in Tanzania. You can't go to Tanzania and talk about cybersecurity and not meet Karim. We're seeing other kind of events that are coming up, and the thing is, it's now a ripple effect which we have to create. That's the only way we can actually get mentorship moving forward by trying to make sure that people can get access to these details when they want to. It's not easy to get access to some of these people. I know my schedule is crazy tight. I'm doing so many things. And even to get, sometimes I said I have to schedule a meeting. If the meeting cannot be scheduled and put on calendar, that meeting is not going to happen. So to somebody who wants mentorship, to them they think, but Bright is posting memes, he should be free right now. No, I can be posting memes, but that's my time off, possibly. I could be watching TV or be somewhere chilling, and I just want my time on the side. But people need to understand that if you want mentorship, you need to also find out and try to respect the other person's time and be able to actually make sure that you can get the most out of them. But most importantly, need to actually make sure you have enough materials you've read, you've done your homework, you've understood something, and be able to actually bring it. One of my mentees, John Collins, and John Collins is one of the examples that I keep on using every time. John Collins, during COVID, wrote to me in a DM. Hi, Dr. Bright. I want to get a mentorship from you in cybersecurity. At that time, I think 15 or 16 years old. I think he was 15. And he said, I've researched, and on Google, I can see this. I need to learn programming. I need to know how to use Linux, Kali being number one, or Pirate OS. Which one should I use? And I see that I have to learn how to do web application security, blah, blah, blah. He gave a list. I said, you know what? Here's my phone number. He did not even ask for it. And through that, right now, John Collins has OSCP. So for those who don't know OSCP, Offensive Security Certified Professional, it's a very difficult exam to most. Very few people who have it in Kenya or Africa. And this guy is only 18 years old, and he has that certification. But the thing that makes him different is because of the discipline that he has. He has a discipline that I've never seen before. So being the mentor, and he tells me, look, I'm trying to research this. Some things even I don't know, I tell him, this is a good research. He comes back, I give him a bit of guidance on what to do, what to change, and he actually goes to do that. So discipline is one key thing, researching, and we have too many available resources. I don't know why people don't get to see that first before they actually go to seek a mentor. Mentors are not supposed to spoon feed, they're supposed to guide. So I think that would be it for me there.
Thank you so much, Brighter. Thank you so much for that. Jones and Ian, I'll be coming next to you, and I'm actually going to hit or share something that I think has been it's the elephant in the room. It's also one of the main things that actually started this particular discussion. If, for example, if Bright is doing mentorship for someone, should Bright have a personal relationship with that particular person, or should it be maintained to be very formal? So, for example, in most organizations, I'll use my example. So, I lead a team of security analysts. Fancy word for this is I'm a manager at an organization X. Now, as a manager, there is an unspoken rule that one, the relationship you have with your subordinates, basically anyone reporting to you, should be formal. If it's work related, it should be very formal, and you try to limit any form of informality. So what does this mean? In most cases, 99% of the time, I'm not going to invite one of my colleagues, one of my subordinates, tell him, look, I'm going for a ride somewhere else. Can you tag along? The few cases that is going to happen if it's something that the whole team is doing. So we are going somewhere and I'm like, guys, can we as a team do this over the weekend as a form of bonding? But as a manager, having that direct, informal relationship with anyone from my team, I know for a fact our HR will actually frown on it. Full disclaimer, as a mentor, I also take that particular approach. Mentorship, I keep my mentoring activities very professional. You reach out to me, Lawrence, can I please be your mentee? Perfectly. Okay. And then you have the do's and don'ts. Now, you might be reaching out, all of us are adults, and I think Faith will probably answer this later on. As a boss and a subordinate, there's what I think I've had people call power dynamics, which basically means if someone junior to me or if someone who is who reports to me, if I ask for a favor from them, in most cases, that junior person is actually going to say yes, knowing very well that at times they should not be saying yes because of the power dynamics. It's your boss. If you say no, they might treat you unfairly or do something that might be passive aggressive. So majority of us end up saying yes to things that if we didn't have that power dynamics relationship, we'll probably say no. So Faith, I'll be inviting you later on just to share power dynamics in mentorship and how it plays role in guys making different decisions. To Johnson Ian, I would like you starting off with Ian, just to share your experience either as a mentor and a mentee, and importantly, to share something that will make you not be a mentee or make you not be a mentor. Things that will probably make you feel unsafe or make you feel like it's just not worth it being in that particular space or putting yourself in that particular position. I hope that makes sense to Miss Ayan and Jones.
Well, yeah, sure, it does make sense. If I may get the question clear, you're asking about why I wouldn't take mentorship or why I wouldn't mentor. Is that the case?
Exactly.
Okay. So let me first start off with being a mentor. I think mentorship is one reason why I'm very strict on mentorship is because mentees tend to, I don't know, maybe the whole aspect of mentorship has not been taken in a different light, but for me mentorship does not mean that you are entitled to my time, neither are you entitled to me helping you get a job placement. Or I think mentees sort of expect the most out of mentors I'm speaking from an individual level. There's just too much expectation, and most times mentorships are not so productive because the expectations are not aligned. So I think that is like one of the major downsides of mentorship. Maybe someone is approaching you to become their mentor because you are in Microsoft or you're in Google and they want to work there. So I don't think ideally, most of the time, I don't think our expectations align with a mentee's expectations. But also, I'm also someone else's mentee, if I may say so. And as a mentee, there are some things I would not appreciate. For example, making advances towards somebody, or even an unwarranted approach, and feeling like this person is my mentee, so I can invite them anywhere. I think, I don't know if you'll get me, but there's also this entitlement from mentors that this is my mentee. She is or he is going to do what I ask them to do, or this person is going to make time when I want time from this person. I think a lot of times we take mentor relationships too personally. And I know most of the mentors in this room do mentor some of their friends. You don't have to be friends with your mentee, but it's good to just have a little sprinkle of an informal relationship, if I may say so. Yeah, but I guess that's mainly it.
Interesting concept there where definitely expectations need to be aligned between a mentee and a mentor, but also someone picking you as a mentor just because you work in a specific location, a specific organization. I don't know how guys feel about it, but if you ask me, that someone basically trying to use you. Jones, as we jump next to you, cyberspace at one point had a very successful, very closed down mentorship program. What was your experience based on running that particular program, as much as it was directed towards cybersecurity? And importantly, what lessons did you learn and what will you do differently?
Thank you very much, Lawrence. Well, I like to agree with what Sharon, Bright, and Ian have said. And to begin with, mentorship is more or less experiential, and experiential in the aspect that it's professional, whereby I'm interested in you because I believe you have or you know something that I can benefit from. Perhaps if you're to guide me in a particular way, I will make better professional decisions. And the key word here is professional. So in the end, we have to make sure that we keep it as professional as possible. But let's not also forget the fact that we are human beings. And in as much as we are human beings, then we may encounter some kind of informal interactions. And I'll give an example from the first cohort of Cyberspace Kenya mentorship and learning program, whereby we used to have some sessions where we used to joke around. And this was an informal session whereby as you may be aware, some kinds of jokes are not essentially very professional, and they may be focused towards maybe eliciting some kind of reaction from the particular mentees. In this case, the idea here was not essentially to have a very, very strict formal kind of engagement. Because at the end, one thing I've come to realize that when you have that very, very strict formal engagement, then you tend to keep some kind of mentors away. Because, for example, someone may have a very genuine question that they want to ask, for example. They were trying to let me give an example in cybersecurity, for example. They were trying to hack a particular box or break into a particular box, and they are facing a particular challenge. And it's around midnight, for instance. And because, we have those strict professional kind of boundaries whereby you're not supposed to reach out to me past 10 and all that. So I may be forced to wait until the following day to reach out to you and find out exactly how I can proceed from this particular point. And perhaps when I do that at that particular time, whatever chain of thoughts or my thought process, I may get lost. So it will make sense that if perhaps Jones is online at that particular time, I can reach out to him and also trying to engage him in a professional manner, trying to inquire how I can proceed from this particular point. So that kind of breaks away from the fact that being strictly formal or professional to being informal, because I don't think there's any although we do have the 24-hour economy currently, but ideally having such kind of communications at around 11 p.m., 12 noon. If you're married, for instance, it will raise quite a number of eyebrows. So in as much as I would say that mentorship should be professional, I like to agree with Ayan, because we cannot distance those aspects of humanity from ourselves. And also the biggest point here I would say is that what we're discussing is a matter of morality, and morality is relative. Because what I find acceptable, someone else may not find it acceptable. And a good example is what I've just said. For me, I wouldn't mind if a mentee will reach out to me at midnight, provided I'm online and I'm able to respond to a particular professional question. I will be able to answer. But I believe some other mentor may find that a bit, let me say, intrusive, because they feel actually enriched to me at that particular time. So you should have that kind of flexibility. And from one of the biggest lessons I learned from the cohorts we've held so far with Cyberspace Kenya is that, and that I will peg it to what Bright has said, because many mentees come with high expectations, thinking that when they come, you're going to spoon feed them, you're going to give them, basically they're just going to sit there and you're just going to open their mouth and feed knowledge into their skulls. And that is not essentially the case, because once you do that, then that means that you're basically feeding off from someone, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So what the most I would say one of the biggest lessons I learned was the fact that when we are trying to reach out to mentees, we have to set some bare minimum, whereby at least come knowing this and this if you want some kind of engagement. And if you do not know this, then at least show interest or show some kind of try to prove, beside me guiding you, try to show us how exactly you would have solved this particular problem had I not been there in that particular picture. And also, I would like to also draw my experience from one of it's actually still ongoing. I reached out a couple of weeks back for mentees, and I actually have 10 mentees right now. And ever since we met, actually we've met once, And when I met them, I just told them that first things first, I'm not here to tell you what to do, because at the end of it all, I'm not the one to benefit. Although in essence, even as a mentor, I do benefit a lot because I get to learn. But now, when I was speaking to them, I told them that the idea here is not for you to just wait and wait for me to tell you what to do. I want you to get into groups, for example, and study each other's strengths and weaknesses, work on them, then report to me after a particular period of time. So in this case, I moved that burden of trying to being the mentor to they trying to mentor themselves. I've not essentially taken myself away from the picture, but I'm only trying to guide. And that is one lesson that I would like for potential mentors who would like to mentor in the future. Please just don't get anyone on board just because they want to learn from you, because in the end, they will drain you. And I can attest the fact that I got drained so much from cohort 1. We did cohort 2 as well. We were supposed to have cohort 3 this year, but for some reason and also availability of some of the mentors, we could not have it. But in collaboration with CTF Room and Riara University, we're also hosting another boot camp in the coming days. Also in collaboration with SheHacks. So from this particular boot camp, some of the expectations we have is that we're not going to reach out to, or we're not accommodating individuals that are coming in gray. You have to come in with something. It's like a marriage in our age nowadays. What are you bringing on the table? So that aspect also has to be considered when we are considering mentorship and the mentor-mentee kind of dilemma. I think that will be my contribution on that.
Thank you so much, John. So as we come to an end of our speakers speaking, open mic to our guest, I would like to give the floor to Dr. Paula. So as I mentioned, Dr. Paula is part of the Cyber Shujaa team. Additionally, she's amongst the few people, I highly respect. She's also amongst the few people who I know are certified by Microsoft as educators, guys who can actually teach. So Dr. Paula, my question to you will be, how should we define mentorship? Do we have different types of mentorship, and what are the expectations that both mentees and mentors should ideally have when considering this all a mentorship journey?
All right, thank you, and hi everyone. As you've heard, Paula. I've come to know Lawrence in many different ways, and I think the relationship we had was a supervision relationship, which is a form of type of mentorship.
Oh, yeah.
But just to say something a little bit about Cyber Shujaa as I begin. So Cyber Shujaa is a program that has the aim of placing unemployed youth in employment. That's the purpose of why we exist. So we have a target we set for ourselves to place 2,000 youth into decent jobs in the next 3 years. And we've been making progress in that, and good progress. And I think because we are focused on the cybersecurity space, I think it's a small space. We all know each other in different ways. We've come to connect in different ways. So that's the reason why we're here. And thank you. I'm glad to speak as Cyber Shujaa, but I'm also a faculty member at USIU, where USIU is also a host of the program. The program doesn't only benefit USIU students. In fact, we've touched over 30 universities across this country, and we've benefited students from all over. So I'm glad to contribute on this topic. And yes, mentorship is, I think I really resonate with what has been said before. It is a relationship where there's a mentor and a mentee. The mentee is seeking to gain something from the mentor, something that they have admired. The mentor has walked a journey that the mentee has seen and admired and wants to learn from them. The mentor has certain skills, certain knowledge, certain areas of experience, certain doors that they can open that the mentee is seeking to benefit from. So just as we think about that definition, you can see that there is an imbalance. This is not a peer-to-peer. In many cases, it's not a peer-to-peer relationship because the mentee looks up to the mentor. And in fact, they're usually very open, to receiving because of just that desire to, get something from the mentor. Usually we say that, I would say that it's not, the relationship is not on the same level. So there is a hierarchical relationship when you talk about a relationship between a mentor and a mentee. And when you already hear that, of course, there are different ways in which mentorship can be structured. I know one has already been shared, where you can have a one-on-one relationship where one individual is a mentor, the other individual is a mentee. But there are also times when you have group mentorships, where you can have more than one person being mentored in a session by a particular mentor. So you can have more mentees paired or grouped into a mentoring relationship. And the relationship would be such that there is no maybe exclusivity in terms of meeting, whether it's like the actual time for a meeting with the mentor. So you can have the mentees meeting together with the mentor. I think there are other ways in which you can even structure. I know there are situations where people's mentees, because they've already learned something from the mentor, become mentors. So there's also like another step in the hierarchical system where the mentees who've gone before with a mentor can actually have their own mentees. And then the mentor, the first level, if I could call it, the first level that were mentored by the mentor, then have more access to the mentor. And as the newer mentees grow and, catch up with maybe some of the things that have already been taught, then it's even easier to now come to the same level, maybe with the mentor, and have more access to the actual mentor. So you can also structure, yes, peer-to-peer mentoring in that sense, but still the peers are not really peers because they've gone before in a way. So there are different ways of structuring. And what I'd say is, just to underscore some few things that are important, is that this relationship, the mentoring relationship, really needs to be safe. We're speaking in a career where there's an imbalance. It's not equal. There are more men in this career than women. That gender imbalance already creates an exposure because women are also trying to get into this space, which is male dominated. If it's not a safe place, that's when you have situations like the one we've seen with the tweet that actually brought about this podcast. You have an environment where, and by the way, it's not just women who get sexually harassed, because now what the issue becomes now is the boundaries are crossed. And this is the risk. If it's not a safe space and if it's not well structured, boundaries will be crossed and people will be taken advantage of. People will be exploited because, again, this is not a same level kind of relationship. The mentor has an advantage over the mentee. The mentee is looking up to the mentor. And like John said, we are human, by the time you start talking about people crossing the boundaries and having sexual relationships and basically being harassed, because again, this is not just integrity where what is good for me is good, it might not be good for you, but there is a law. So even as we talk about integrity, there's also a legal framework which we operate on. So there's a Sexual Offences Act, there's sexual harassment at workplaces in the labor law, there's legislation on that. There's also even legislation just relating to how public officers serve the public, because they can also take advantage because people need to access services. Jobs are few. You want to get into that particular career. You're trying to inch in. So someone will take advantage of your desperation and your need. So there really has to be a safe space. There has to be accountability. There has to be structure. There has to be integrity even in the process, because it is also a process. Mentorship is a process. In fact, for me, I usually say, I'm a good lecturer if my students are no longer dependent on me, even to grow and to explore. Yes, I have taught them and I've brought them, even as a parent, I've brought them and I've brought them to a particular place. Now it is my joy when they take up that and actually explore even beyond that. So that is the structure, because a mentorship, in fact, it should even be a place where mentors also are learning. mentors are also growing. And also, let me just say, just the last point is that mentorship happens in many different ways. It's not just only professionally. When I reflect on my own mentorship journey, I've been mentored in terms of my finances. I've been mentored health-wise. I've been mentored spiritually. I've been mentored in my marriage. I've been mentored in family circles. And that's how you know that it's a multifaceted, kind of way. And it may not always be the same person who has all these things you're looking for. So it also calls for some empowerment. In fact, the other thing I wanted to say, mentees need to be empowered. Mentees need to be, educated. They need to be informed. A lot of the exploitation that happens, unfortunately, is of people who've already been victimized before. It's of people who've already been wounded before. So they're not empowered. They have low self-esteem. They can't stand up for themselves. They don't even know what their rights are. They don't know who to go and report these cases to. Thank God for social media where we can, have a discussion like this and everybody can contribute and we can say, name and shame that guy. If it's okay, why don't we just bring it to light and just name him? If it's okay, then why are we still hiding? So anyway, but I think it's also important to empower the mentees, even as they get into a relationship, so that they are not exploited. Yeah. So let me just stop there.
Dr. Paula, thank you so much. Bright, please just hold on. I would like Faith just to mention something about the power dynamics, building on what Dr. Paula said, and how it can actually lead to this all abuse from either a mentor and also abuse from a mentee. I'll repeat that. Faith, as you prepare for that, I know a lot of our feedback and our thoughts have been responsibility of a mentor, but I've been in situations, I've had stories of where your mentees actually abuse you, not verbally, but they take advantage of you as a mentee, as a mentor, and you actually find yourself in a position where you have toxic mentees. So, Faith, if you are able, just please share with us from a psychologist's point of view what goes behind the scene when we talk over power dynamics between someone in power or someone in authority and their juniors or subordinates.
Thank you, Lawrence. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, those who've spoken before me. And I want to agree to what we've all said. And just to build on what Dr. Paula has mentioned, yes, to start with, there's the power dynamic difference. We have agreed that we are not equals as mentor and mentees. There's that difference in terms of power. And now this difference can sometimes be exploited. As she mentioned, it's very important to empower mentees because one, you need to have the understanding of your values beforehand, even before you get into that relationship. Not coming from a point of desperation, but coming from a point of, I need help to be better in who I am. Yeah. And I think for mentors, it's important to understand that the key is to make people become better in who they are, not to transform them to who you are. Yeah. So just that understanding of they are autonomous people, they have their own values, they have their own way of doing things. So you're not coming to make clones of you. Yeah. So just that understanding, it's critical. And now it's important to, again, someone mentioned about the aspect of, even if it's a formal kind of mentorship, it's important to have structures, to set boundaries, to have goals. But then that bit of just making one feel easy and just being able to get that help that is needed by provision of a safe space. Yeah. Just because someone knows things much better than the other, you do not want to feel invisible. You do not want to feel like you do not know anything. Yeah. You're not coming from a point of feeling like they are devoid of making good decisions or they actually do not know anything in the field of IT. So you want them to be empowered and to feel good. And I think that is one critical thing that will determine the aspect of building trust. As Dr. Paula said, it's a process. So the trust will build over time. Yeah. Sometimes due to the desperation of mentees, there are those that will trust too soon and they'd end up getting or being taken advantage of. Others are hesitant to be vulnerable. And so it can lead to, that stiffness, that lack of inflexibility and just authenticity in terms of your operations. So it's important to, again, that human touch, that human nature, and the whole goal is to help them explore options, not to impose. Yeah. So someone said that people don't care how much you know if they do not know how much you care. Yeah. So if I'm coming to someone because of their knowledge, their power, but once I interact with them, I feel like I've been made to feel inferior. I've been meant to look like I do not know anything. It is highly likely that that will affect how I feel about myself. It will affect my esteem. And as a result, I'll end up being confused. There will be a lot of self-doubt. There will be dependency and over-reliance. And so it's very important for us to ensure that, there's just that respect of a mentee as a person. Now, when coming to the question that Lawrence asked about work environment, there's, power dynamics when it comes to work and just any form of leadership styles that we have. So you'd find that there are five power dynamics in psychology. One would be reverent power, which comes from a point of attractiveness. When it comes to maybe like celebrities, you approach that person from a point of reverence. I adore you. I like how you look or how you talk. So I could come to someone for mentorship based on the reverence. Two, it could be from a point of expertise. Yeah. I like how you do your thing. You have mastered your art and your skills. So that can also be the basis of mentorship. Three, reward power is when, there's just that one's ability to compensate others for compliance. And this applies a lot in the workplace, where you feel like if I do not comply to my boss, then I'm likely to lose that. So that's the reward power. And some people might use that. It's of course not the best, because it kind of brings some sense of, position or power, and you feel like I'm obliged to do because I will be compensated. Then there's the coercive power, where you believe that you will be punished for not complying to what that person needs. So when it comes to, like boss subordinate relationships, and you're expected to do something because you're forced to, actually, not because you want or because it's the right thing. All right. And lastly, there's the legitimate power, where you believe that you need to, obey the demands of that person. Like, for example, when it comes to a parent-child relationship, you might feel like you're expected to obey your parents as a result. So when it comes to mentorship, most likely it could be from expertise point. It could be from reverence, when I adore someone and how they conduct themselves. As Dr. Paula mentioned, there are different areas, if it's marriage, if it's career, if it's whatever area that you'd need mentorship, then it depends on all these dynamics. Which one has pulled you or pushed you to that particular mentor? Now, remember, mentorship relationship is something you can check out. Yeah, you need to understand that it's not a must relationship. There can be a timeline to it. It can be, for a project, a particular project, or it can be for a period of time. Once you have committed to that relationship, it's not given that you should actually stay till the end of, whatever operation you're doing. So it's important to understand your values and to be able to know that if you don't seem to align, or your goals are not being met, both as a mentor and a mentee, you can always, one of the good traits is actually being able to pull off from a mentorship program if you don't feel like it's of help. Yeah, then it's important also to understand that, of course, there are personal differences. Yeah, and that needs to be respected. For example, if it's personal boundaries, if it's about just a person's way of contact. Yeah, for example, in the manner of their dressing, and we are here for professional mentorship, I do not necessarily have to make that person dress like I do. Yeah, they could choose to be casual, and I respect that. And then, so just adhering to what is the purpose of this program. Yeah, what is the purpose of our mentorship? Now, there are people, especially if the mentee is not well, endowed in terms of their personal resources, then there's likelihood of mismanagement, and people might use the power of a mentor to actually take advantage of others. Now, it might not necessarily be even physical or sexual abuse and all that. It could be just by the manner of communication. Yeah, I could pass a point, I could tell you something that would make you feel very inferior. You'd feel stifled. And whereas I would still pass the same point, but make you feel empowered and just feel like I just need to, change a certain thing. Yeah. So there could be issues of gaslighting where you're meant to actually feel like you are the problem and I am not the problem when you raise issues. Mentors need to understand that there are times that you'd have miscommunication and disputes might come in between. It's not a perfect relationship, and it's okay to have those moments, and it's important to sit down and discuss in case of any kind of miscommunication and misunderstanding. So if there are personality conflicts and differences, that's okay. Yeah, you don't have to mentor people who are maybe high spirited if you're high spirited. Yeah, your mentee can be someone who is withdrawn, yet you're a social person, and that's okay. So some of those differences we should be able to respect and just ensure that we are working on the same goal and the purpose of the relationship. And as Dr. Bright mentioned, it's very important for mentee to have that self-drive. Level of commitment is critical. So even as a mentor, you are able to assess and see that at this point I'm pushing a stagnant vehicle, and so you can choose to withdraw because you don't feel like you are helping each other in that kind of relationship. I think I'd take it back to Lawrence.
Faith, thank you so much. I think I was not I actually thought I was aware of the power dynamics, but I've actually learned a couple of new things. Sorry, apologies. I've actually learned a couple of new things from you. Thank you so much for that. Bright, you had a question. I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I think Faith has already covered that fact that it's okay to walk away. I mean, one of my mentees told me after a long time working with him, doing stuff with him, elevated him one way or the other. He also did to me. After 5 years, he said, "Look, I don't think I need you anymore. Allow me to make my own mistakes instead of always looking out for me." And I'm like, you know what? I respect that. So it's okay to walk away. There's some people who don't want the help from you, or they don't want the mentorship from you. It's okay to walk away because there's, like John says, there's only so much you can do. It's actually a burnout thing to do mentorship. Like, it's really burning out. You can burn out trying to just do mentorship sometimes, and it's not the easiest thing. And like, we all grow in different ways. Someone like me, I think when family became priority for me, I started slacking in my mentorship kind of thing. But later, I got to realize that I also needed help. And one of my mentees here, Fraser, or Fraser as he called himself, came to my rescue. He's like, "Doc, you're doing too much. I need to help you out." So he started going with me every meeting that I go for. He became my executive assistant. When it comes to work, we do work together. If it comes to splitting of cash, we'll split very well. If I have to drive, he's like, "You don't drive. I'll drive you everywhere I go." And that relationship is one of the easiest because he made it easy. There are other people who I try to do the same way. They're like, "I don't need you anymore," and it's okay to walk away. So we need to identify, and what Faith said, getting to understand the relationship that you have with the person, all the different kind of mentorship that you're given. It's okay to walk away when you have to. And I've done that in the past. I sent an official email to you telling you, "Look, this cannot work because I don't think you're serious. I don't think that you're able to take it, or I don't think I have the time to be able to mentor you in what it is," because some people take too long to reply to certain things, or you try to mentor someone and they take, they're still waiting for that spoon feeding, or they take almost 3 or 4 weeks that you even forget. And I have a schedule for such things where I have to make sure that I can actually get back to that person. But the mentor cannot be chasing the mentee all the time. Yes, I might do it the first few times just to make sure I can also get that whole communication drawing. But some people will go and they never come back, or they go and they wait for about 6 months before they come back and say, "Oh, do you remember me? So I'm here. I want you to mentor me again," without kind of, and I formally actually decline such a thing. So it's good to actually walk away when you can and when there's a need to.
Thank you so much, Bright, for that. So, uh, our audience, guys, are in the space. Please, if you have any questions, request to speak. I know we are 6 minutes beyond beyond time, so 10 minutes for QA, and we wrap it up. So, if you have a question, post it in the chat or a request to speak, and I'll allow you to do that. A question in the chat. So based on what Dr. Paula mentioned, generally what all of us have talked about. Now, how does a mentee determine a good mentor? Dr. Paula, that question was addressed to you.
Okay. Okay, so first of all, I think there's the element of somebody being accessible. Of course, the relationship is built from the mentee being able to access the mentor. If the mentor is not accessible, then of course it's hard to even say that that's a good mentor. But I think also it's important. I am very big on boundaries to some extent because they make things clear. You don't leave too many things in the gray, and especially where, because even in the profession we're in, I would most of the times be mentoring people of the other gender. And there are fewer women that probably will find. So it's also good to know, number one, is there a boundary and a structure to even that mentorship relationship? If it's very fluid, I'd also take the advice that has been given by Faye. Don't trust too soon, try and figure out, okay, is there some structure to this? Like I try to give structure to my mentees. We have this day. I usually set it aside and I say, this is the day I meet with my mentees. They know it, they can diarize it, they can put it in their calendar, they can keep me accountable if I don't show up. So there is some structure. Then set goals. So this is somebody who can help you. You clearly can see where the mentor is trying to guide you. So what are the goals? What do you really want to achieve at the end of that mentorship session? It's good to have a mentor who can articulate for you, or even just through your discussions with that mentor, you can clearly see that you're moving from this point to from point A to point B. It can actually be clearly seen what the purpose of that relationship is. So I think it's very good if you have that structure with your mentor. It's a good mentor who can actually help you articulate. Another thing that's very important for me, even when I mentor, is always to give clarity. In fact, I think majority of the time is to, even for coaching, I think I have friends who are coaches, even career coaches and all. One of the important things is always bring clarity to a situation. A mentor who helps you clarify is a good mentor. A mentor who helps you see things for what they are, because in many times mentees are not, they're not very savvy in their profession. Some of that is obtained through experience. There's a lot of clutter. There are many things to be processed. I think we're in the information age. You can easily get overwhelmed. A mentor is one who can help you clarify and where you can see the path through the forest. So I think that's also another good thing to work, to look for a mentor who is able to give you that clarity. And it's not a dependency kind of thing, in a sense that that you should be empowered. I think I'm big on that element of empowering mentees, that the mentee should even be able to feel like I've gained something and I can now run with it. I've been given certain tools, I've been given certain exposure, and now I know how to do it. The next time I can do it by myself. Like in parenting, we say you teach your child the first time you do it for them and they see. The next time you do together. The next time they can do it and you watch and give feedback. After that, you can let them now do it because now they know how to do it. So it should be like a gradual process of empowerment for the mentee.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paula, for that. I believe, Jeffrey, that should be able to answer your question. Welcome any additional questions, either on chat or anyone who has ability to speak. As that happens, just building on top of what Dr. Paula has shared, I would like to share an experience that I learned recently, especially for mentors. I think as mentors, there's the aspect of psychology, understanding people you need to work on. By that empowerment statement that all of the guests have made, I can't ever overemphasize it enough. So I was doing mentorship for Kamilimu, and I was taking the cybersecurity track, a cohort. I had everything planned out. Like, guys, this is what you are going to do. This is what you are meant to achieve. Kamilimu ensures you have that dialed in very well. However, you're meant to give, your mentees are meant to come up with a project, finally a project where they showcase what they have learned. So I had what I thought was a very brilliant idea. Told my mentee that, look, this is the project I want you guys to work on. So shock on me, very pleasant shock. My mentees very politely decided to go with their own project. I don't know if that stung a bit or if hopefully I'm mature to appreciate my mentors being empowered to that extent they can make their own decision. But what I know just in hindsight right now is as a mentor, you need to be graceful enough to allow your mentees make different choices than what you had in mind. At the same time, you need to be graceful enough to continue showing them the support, continue actually leading them, telling them that, look, I had this in mind, it's not working for you. You have this particular approach, it's perfectly okay, very proud of you, and I'm still going to support you on this particular journey. So sit down with them, listen to them, and still continue mentoring them. Previously, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe someone here, you'll have been actually been disappointed and maybe stopped mentoring these particular people, which I think as a mentors, that's not our role. If your mentees choose a different path, as long as they have entrusted you, because mentorship is also about trust. This particular person is entrusting you, your experience, leadership, and goodwill to help them through the straight and narrow. So that should always center you. Your role as a mentor, in my opinion, is guiding, holding hands, helping these guys know the holes or the holes they should avoid and the quick wins they should be aware of to help them quickly accelerate through whatever they are working on. So Dr. Paula just reminded me that particular experience I had, and I've actually appreciated my mentees not choosing what I had in mind, because it has actually helped me grow as a mentor in certain aspects and learn to empower and trust my mentees that they are making the right decision, and I'm willing to help them build on top of what they're working on. So just going through the charts, I don't see any questions. Hopefully I'm not looking out anyone. Well, I guess then we can start wrapping it up. So to my guests, I'll just like to give one last minute for anyone who has any closing remarks as we start winding this up.
If I may go first.
Yes.
Well, to answer, to contribute to what the question in the chat was, and also building upon what Dr. Paul has mentioned, I like to give it a more or less a cybersecurity perspective, whereby I say if you want to identify a good mentor, you could adopt the CIA triad, that is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So basically, Dr. Paul has talked about the availability aspect. So you have to make sure that at least your mentor is going to be available to attend to your professional whatever it is. And we have actually learned the fact that mentorship is not essentially all about professional. Can be familial, can be spiritual, and all that. So the mentor should be in a position to be available when you need them. Secondly, integrity. And integrity, that's where we talk about the morals. In as much as morality is relative, Dr. Paula has also mentioned that in as much as things vary, we may have a particular standard in which we all operate. So to that extent, that particular standard should be integrity, making sure that you do not go against the objective of that particular mentorship and that mentorship program. If the idea is to mentor this individual into becoming a good professional, then anything else shouldn't come and take away that particular aspect. Then for confidentiality is whereby I should be able to be trust the fact that whatever I'm going to share with my mentor is going to be treated treated as confidential, in the sense that I won't hear someone saying that, well, I have there's someone who came to me, for example, and asked me a very weird question, and this is how I responded. So that kind of confidentiality aspect, the fact that I know if I come to Dr. Bright, I know he's going to take me in, and if he's not going to take me in, then he's going to tell me to go away in a peaceful manner. And whatever engagement I have with him is going to be very private and confidential. So that I will say is a more or less a cybersecurity perspective into the mentorship program. As my last comments, I would like to say that mentorship is a very good thing, and in as much as we all try to look up to different individuals for mentorship, wanting to live their lives. What I would say is many mentees like to live the lives of their mentors. One thing we need to remember is that we all take a different path. So if I took a particular path to get where I am, it does not essentially mean that if you do the same, you're going to get to that particular path. And that I draw from your experience, Lawrence, that you've just shared. The fact that your mentees were not able to take up your project, which in your judgment could have been better, but they went with their own project, and indeed it turned out even better. So in as much as we want to ape or clone our mentors, let's also know that we all have a different path to live, and which we must follow and get to whatever destination. So the end justifies the means. Thank you very much. And it was an honor being part of this particular space.
Thank you, Jones.
Speak the truth. If I may go next. I mean, Jones, you've nailed it right there. And I've seen what you've done in the past, which has really changed the way people actually become who they are right now through your mentorship. And my encouragement is that we keep on doing what we do. It will never stop. We have to keep on sharing. I want to tell people that make use of your mentors. Your mentor does not have to be in your career path. It can be somebody completely different that you admire, the way they work, or the way they do things, or the way they carry themselves. Make use of them, because someday they might be the one to call your name in a room where you actually get easy access to certain things. My mentees, who I hold very close to me, I make sure I do that. I mention their names in places. I try to give opportunities. Sometimes I'll use Fraser again as an example. I was called by CIO to go speak at a cloud security conference. I told him, "You're going instead of me." He's like, "What?" He's trying to remind me of the conference. I'm like, "No, I'm not the one going. You are the one who's going." He's like, "But I've never done this like with such a crowd." But we guided him. I guided him. We had a conversation. We sat down. He was prepared, and he went and spoke. And ever since then, he just kept on doing bigger things than that. Not that he's never done speaking engagement. He has. But the way he was able to carry himself, getting prepared, came up with details before the event, that attitude is what I love. And mentors will always stick to you and always be there for you and will always bail you out in case of anything, no matter how good or bad it is, if you show a good attitude. And that's something we need to keep on carrying with us. I think we underestimate that a lot, and we take it for granted, which I think we need to actually just having such changes. So make use of mentors. They might mention your name somewhere. They might be the next stepping stone for you. You never know. And they don't have to be necessarily from your career path. They can be from a different. My life coach and my mentor always make sure that the next gig that I want to get somewhere, even a small security assessment, a consultancy, my next career move, I always run it by her. But when she's in rooms, she tells people, "Look, talk to this person." Or when she calls me for lunch somewhere randomly, I know that's not a random lunch. It's because there's somebody she wants me to meet, and that person opened doors for me. And I keep that relationship very close. I keep it very professional. And Dr. Paula has stressed on that so many times. And I want us to be able to reiterate that that you need to make sure you know how to keep boundaries. And when she's busy, I know she's busy. I can go a whole month without talking to her. But when we meet, I make sure that actually gets to work. And yeah, so that's it for me. And thank you very much for inviting me here. It's such an honor to speak with the others. And thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you so much, Bright. Guys, just to build on what Bright has said and Dr. Paul and Jones, and I've seen Chucks also mention this, there is an aspect of trust that is typically involved in a mentor-mentee relationship. If your mentor is going to put himself on the line and mention your names, send opportunities your way, they need to be able to trust you as a mentee, as an individual. They need to have that particular relationship with you. What that also means is that the mentor is putting his or her reputation on the line. So it definitely needs to be worth it. Now, why is this important? This is important because I know right now I'm doing that. Mentors will also just check you out, see what are you posting, social media, professional pages, the kind of discussion, just to size you up, because do they want to be associated with you? So if you're a person who is always maybe being hostile to guys in the community, is your mentor willing to be associated with you? That might have an impact on their career, on also the particular network. So just ensure that you also have that figured out. It might lead to actually certain mentors not accepting you as a mentee. So that was just by the way. Dr. Paula, Faith, Sharon,
Okay.
over to you guys.
Thank you so much, Lawrence. Oh, sorry. Who's going next?
Dr. Paula, please go on.
Okay, great. Thanks, Faith. Yeah, thank you, Lawrence, for having us and hosting this session. And, congratulations on True Positive. This is a great thing that you're doing. Keep it up. And, you're making a difference. You really are. So thank you for bringing up the topic. And I just only have one thing. And I just wanted to speak on behalf of women, just in relation to the whole tweet that was shared. In fact, that's part of the reason why I just felt, okay, I don't usually do these things, but I was just like, this is a good one. Let's just do it. I think just to say that we need you, men, we need you. We really need you, especially in this profession. We won't make our progress as women in this profession without your support. In many cases, you guys are, the ones who are opening the doors. You're the ones who have access to some of these, openings. And I think just to implore that as men, please don't exploit the women who are under you. Don't take advantage of their dependency on your guidance and on, just being vulnerable in your space. There are more cases that I know that, they will be reaching out to men and not women as mentors. And I just want to really thank the gentleman who posted this on behalf of the woman, because we also need you men to stand up and intervene when you see women being mistreated, when they see them being exploited. Don't just look away. Don't just, say she has to figure out how to handle it and just leave it to that. Find ways. I mean, it doesn't have to be you confronting the man, but find ways of also just helping that woman navigate that situation. And I know there are many women who've shared even stories of their career success because of a man who cared enough to step in when something wrong was being done. Even if it's just giving the right advice for the woman on what she needs to do in that situation, just be empathetic, see that person, for what they're going through, and just step in and help. So thank you, men, for doing what you do in this career. And, we really need you and we value you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paula, for that. Faith?
Thank you so much, Lawrence, for the opportunity. Having me who is not in the tech field, I think that's a privilege. Thank you for the opportunity. I just want to mention something about anyone who could have gone through the hands of maybe a wrong mentor, or you interacted with someone who you had hoped they'd be of help, but then they ended up taking advantage or manipulating you and such thing. That is likely to affect your attitude towards mentorship. Yeah, you're likely to approach it with a lot of, reservation, and you're likely to miss chances. So it's important to take time and heal from maybe wrong interactions with mentors and mentees, vice versa. It's important if you need therapy or just to talk to someone and ensure you're in a better space, because you're likely to miss a lot if you have wrong attitude or just general outlook about mentorship. So I think I thought I should mention that. Thank you so much, and I appreciate being here.
Thank you so much, Faith. Faith, just to build on top of that, you're in that particular space. What will be your recommendation for someone who wants to reach out to you or to your facility just to decompress?
Okay, that is open for if you're in need of therapy. I am Faith, my therapy effect. I am also a psychologist at Chiroma Hospital Group. So you can always reach us through our social media platforms and you'll be able to be assisted if you need to debrief or just heal from a traumatic experience that you had. Do not ignore such experiences. So it's important, and feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Faith. Moving on to Sharon.
Thank you, Lawrence, for giving me a chance to be part of the speakers. I want to just say that the level of work ethics in the cybersecurity space is worth, embracing, or something to emulate as other tech communities. Because I remember last year, Lawrence, you invited me to attend the B-Sides event last year, and I was able to see the speakers who have spoken here, the way the cybersecurity engineers were looking forward to, reach out to them and ask them some questions. And I was really inspired, and I've been following what is happening in the cybersecurity space. And I've always been seeing the way you guys are so consistent and always organizing, let's say, mentorship and also trainings to help people who are getting started. Thank you for this chance, and I hope everyone will get something out of it. Also for Faith, thank you for taking your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Our guests are internally grateful for you guys sparing the time to be part of this, share your experience, your thoughts on all these mentorship and what it entails. To our listeners, thank you so much for creating the time also to join this and for being the motivation behind actually True Positive. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to having you during the next episode. With that, everyone who has created the time to be part of this, thank you so much, and have yourself a lovely rest of the day. Bye.